we got one, baby. Getting money is my BFF. I done sold more drugs than CVS. Now we on the bigger, better things. Busy, but my bills paid. 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 I'm like MJ, but I don't fade. Busy, but my bills paid. And my shit's 30. Do say by the cases, no it's but my bills paid. Yeah. Busy, but my bills paid. Closed mouths don't get fed, that's what mom said. Busy, but my bills paid. Getting money is my BFF. I done sold more drugs than CVS. Now we on the bigger, better things. Busy, but my bills paid.
New on the track.
We got one, baby.
Let's play that again. Let's play that again. I like that, Notes. I like that, baby. Let's come to the new.
Don't care who to pop. I've been winning so long, I need a Wheaties box. We could take it there. Uber driver. My shorty's so wet, I'm a scuba diver. Iced out chain.
You got one, Notes. You got one, baby. Let's go.
Super pay, I'm a supervisor. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. I win like MJ, but I don't fade. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. Yeah. Busy, but my bills pay. Closed mouths don't get fed, that's what mom said. Busy, but my bills pay. I stay on top, missionary. I just tell her how it is, dictionary. 550 bins with the fresh beard, and the doors pop open like Obama is. Pocket so fat, clumps. The watch presidential, Trump. My kid.
That was my. Such as Harlem and such as Brownsville, Brooklyn. Now I understand Mr. Perkins is a staple in Harlem and in Brownsville. I mean in Harlem. So his battle was a little different, but in Brownsville, how can you lose Brownsville? Y'all call organizing and mobilizing, going to train stations and handing out flyers only and doing it for the cameras and everything is laughing and joking. And you can't get this man, Mr. Butler, at least 4,000 votes with the power of this union.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no. Hell to the no, to the no.
They was like, hell no, you know that, y'all know how that go. But we gonna go to a break. We gonna go back to my boy Notes again. Notes got some good music. We gonna go back to one of his records. Let's see what we gonna play. When we come back, we gonna come back with Joe, our first official guest of Progressive Action Radio. Let's go with this one from my boy Notes. Let's get it, bro. This is called No New Team by my boy Notes. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
My diamonds green, car looking mean. They hating from afar, that's just what it seems. Those are new kicks, these are new jeans. That's a new whip, but bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team, bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team, bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team, bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team, bitch, this ain't no new team. I'm ballin', Steve Wilkos. My flow is so dope, they have to pay me in kilos. 1,000 views on YouTube, cause my flow is cool. Check my plays, I've been hot for days. I'm doing numbers like Sudoku. Hop out, low sweats, cool nigga, no sweat. How many times I gotta remind that it's my time? Rolex, flexing on them Bowflex. Once I stop, bank no bets. Icy wrist match my chest. 3 chains, 1 neck. It costs to be the boss, my receipt right here. You could tell by all that fresh Louis shit I wear. We don't care what them niggas doing over there. Still with my day ones, let's get that clear. No new team. I said this get rich. No new team. Can we get rich? No new team. Get us get rich. No new team. My diamonds gleam. God, look at me. They hating from afar. That's just what it seems. Those are new kicks. These are new jeans. That's a new whip. But bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team. Bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team. Bitch, this ain't no new team. No new team. Bitch, this ain't no new team. Rich, no new team. Bitch, this ain't no new team. Get rich, I'm C-notes. We mob it. Casino, Pacino. My niggas keep it 1-0-0. Pinky ring, watch the wrist glow. Earrings bling, watch the light show. I got 40 goons, that's 49s. No San Francisco. Make it hot like Crisco. Get rich, no new team. If this beat, we'll come through and shake leaves off your family tree. New whip, no key. Crack music, don't OD. We gon' keep eating over here till we obese. It costs to be the boss, my receipt right here. You could tell by all that fly Gucci shit I wear. We don't care what them niggas doing over there. Still with.
Get the fuck out of here!
No. Yeah.
What does that speak to you, those numbers and them losing with a little...
You know, in between, you know, massive general elections where, you know, the president and everybody's running, you have the opportunity here to out-organize everybody. It starts with a voter registration drive. You want to register all your members to vote. You want to make sure they can all vote. Then you want to tell them who your candidate is. And especially in places that have a remarkable amount of transit workers living there, those are the places you want to target. And I believe that those two places do have that. And it just goes to show. I mean, just transit workers alone, but you could organize the public. You could be out in the street, you know, months in advance, letting everybody know what the platform is. And they didn't do that. They were out-organized, poorly organized, and it just goes to show you that they don't know what organizing means.
I totally agree with you 100% in that. And we must not forget or give them no pass. They can't cheat in these elections right here.
Nah, these guys, I mean, this was a golden opportunity to shine, and they blew it. Especially if you're going to walk down this, a parade route holding somebody's sign and you can't deliver. I remember back in the day, we used to deliver a lot of candidates. We were kingmakers.
Yeah.
I don't know what these guys think organizing is. Carrying a sign in a parade is not going to do it.
I agree with you 100%. Now, for the people who don't know who you are, fill the people into who you are. Because a lot of people don't know who I am. They don't know who you are. So this is a good way to reintroduce them to who you are, to all the new members who may be paying attention.
Yeah, well, I'm Joe Campbell, right? I'm a car inspector. I have 27 years on the job. I was the division chair. I was the section chair. Held a lot of offices over all the years. Under a lot of different presidents, under all the way, even when Samuelson won his first term, we ran against him, but I still won as division chair. And I ran for president against Samuelson in 2012 and 2015. In 2012, I got 39% of the vote. 2015, I got 43% of the vote. And currently, because I can't let this man get away, and let him poison the rest of the TWU of America, I'm running against him for international president of the TWU.
Now, how is things over there going along? Because I haven't been following it too much, but how things been going on with the international, you running for president over there?
Well, just a little history first. I was reached out to. I kept in contact with a lot of people from all the different locals. American Airlines, Southwest, airline division, transit division, and I've been preaching to them, what is happening in Local 100 and how a union is supposed to operate, how it's supposed to represent its members, and in getting a larger and larger audience over all that time. You know, my only intention was to empower people within the TWU, because believe it or not, over 100 locals, many of those, especially the bigger locals, are pretty much suffering the way we are. A lack of organizing, a lack of vision, a lack of energy. Like I said, not all of them, but, you know, it's big enough to where people are being turned off by their union and just, you know, turning their back and saying, what's the point? So I kept that fire burning for a very long time. And then, you know, so in talking to everybody, it was decided that, and we know this from past experience, that in order to get your issues up front,
correct,
and they say, oh, wow, what's going on? Who's saying this? Why is he saying that? And then a challenge. And then in that challenge, you get to see the incumbents' true colors, because they can't help it.
correct.
And when you look at how they act, the top 5 in the offices of the TWU, how they act towards us, you can also see that in Local 100. And I warn people about that, and I say Samuelson's brand of unionism is going to spill into the TWU of America, and it's going to become a very dark age for everybody. And I don't believe that, you know, over 4 years of him being the executive vice president of the TWU and getting all that money, and at the same time being Local 100 president and not doing really the job of either, he should be rewarded without being called on the carpet and getting people to see what this international is really about. We put together an extensive platform. We've tried to reach out to other locals the best we could with the information we had as far as contacts, and give our platform, tell people don't make a commitment, because that's what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to get the delegates and the other TWU executive boards to commit to supporting Samuelson prior to the convention, which is probably about 10 days away. And during that time is when we wanted to pull in delegates and meet with them and talk to them about what we're about and how we want to make changes and how we want, you know, to bring a fresh perspective to the union, and then have that trickle down to the other locals and see the energy from the top and then have it trickle down, instead of having the same old apathy on the top and having that infect everybody else, and allowing, at least for the next 4 years, mediocrity to become the norm of the TWU, which is a crime, in my opinion. The TWU needs to stand out and be the leaders among labor, one of the leaders among labor, and now we're just a shadow of our former self. We rely on a past reputation, you know, to try to carry us through. You know, they like to criticize the strike, but then when they want to show that we're tough and militant, they start talking about we went on strike. But we know how they acted during the strike. So there's a lot of issues out there. Maybe I could get some of them out when it comes to like American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, especially in the air division. The air division is very well, they're not satisfied with the union, and it's going to be a calamity if things are allowed to continue.
I totally agree. So what kind of reaction have you been getting? Because I noticed you went to Texas not too long ago. I believe that you was in Miami or Florida not too long ago either, correct?
Well, Miami had to be canceled. And, yeah, I did go to Dallas, met with some people. Everybody that talks to us, you know, feels energized about what we're saying. But a lot of people are being kept away from us because the leadership, you know, would rather threaten them and say, well, you know, you don't want to, if you don't stand with us, then you're against us. And within that threat, you know, and it could be direct or indirect, but everybody understands what that threat is. And that threat is not getting money from the international, not being represented on the international executive board and executive council, or the international using covert money to support opposition candidates within the local, which they shouldn't be doing, but, you know, nobody could really prove that they do it. So all these threats are used to get people to show loyalty, and that's what we've been battling. It's probably no surprise to everybody that, you know, the TWU is subpar, but But to get people to show the courage to stand up has been really tough. That's why we told people don't commit. Now, at one point, because we did make some drastic changes within the leadership, even just by us having a campaign, we know that Harry Lombardo, the former president of the TWU, who so-called retired, we know that it was because of us he was pushed out. They saw him as the weak link, and they knew that people would listen to us as long as Harry was around. So what they tried to do was they got rid of him, and the inside I got from this was that they told him, you're either going to walk away and accept the package, or we're going to throw you out, and now you're going to have to fight for that package, one or the other. So Mr. Lombardo took his package and moonwalked on out, and what they tried to do was try to say, okay, this is the new leadership. But if you look at the new leadership, it's the same old leadership. It's just that they changed positions, but it's the same people. Now, Samuelson moved from executive vice president to president. But if everything was so bad over 4 years, what was he doing? You can't blame all that on Lombardo. Samuelson, he was an absentee executive vice president making $270,000 a year. That's our dues money. And even if the international seems foreign to people in Local 100, I know it does, because it used to feel foreign to me, he has a tremendous amount of effect on how a local operates. And it's still our dues money paying them, regardless, because the local kicks dues money to the international.
Correct.
A third of it. So all the dues, you take a look at your dues, take a third of that dues out, and that goes to the international. Now, what do we get back for it? Well, that's debatable, right? Local 100 probably doesn't get anything back. I mean, we can pretty much sustain ourselves with our size, and we've done that. Even during the hostile times when Roger was local president and Sonny Hall was up there, or Brian, and we had a very contentious relationship with the international, rightfully so, by the way, and that's probably another discussion. But now we're looking at like the opposite. Now we're looking at Local 100 president being a puppet to the international president, and that's awful. I mean, I don't even want to consider that as a possibility, and I hope we're successful. But if we're not, and the threats and intimidation that we've seen come to fruition for Samuelson, and we have to put it on that most of Local 100's delegates are staff or TA release or something. That and believe me, they've convinced a lot of delegates that even ran with me to side with him. But and this is about promises of jobs and release time. So this union is like really sick. I mean, we're laying in the hospital bed ready to flatline. And it was very important that I step out along with some other brave souls and stood up and challenged this international leadership and brought these issues to light. And many of the issues people didn't even know. So they didn't know. American didn't know what was happening with Southwest and vice versa. Southwest Airlines is the second largest group of TW members, with the two locals, 555 and 556. They're almost or just about 30,000 members.
Wow.
So that's a very large group of members who are not satisfied with what's going on. I can't speak for every single person, and I certainly can't speak for their, for the reasons that they want to get involved in leadership. But I do know that, they're not happy. Nobody's getting what they should from the international. And the smaller locals that really need the international, because they need that funding and they need that muscle and they need the legislative branch to work of the union. They need the safety department to work from the union. They need the money. They need the support. They're not getting it. Or if they show any kind of opposition, they can kiss that support goodbye. That is a sick union. That's what we have out there. And I want every Local 100 person to know that myself, Angela Cassie, Rick Rivera, Sandra Burleson, Linda Dill, we decided to stand up and say enough is enough. We have 5 different locals represented on the top, much more diversity than Samuelson can claim, and even just to prove that women's issues are on the bottom of the TW agenda, we're running 3 women on the top. Never happened before. I don't think even one woman has ever run on the top. And certainly not an African-American woman like Sandra Burleson, which is shocking to me because this wonderfully talented woman was president of her transit local in Houston for 18 years.
Wow.
And they won't even let her on the women's committee. I mean,
Wow.
isn't this a sick union?
Do they actually have a women's committee over there?
They have one, and what it is, it's a big clique thing, and it's run by this woman Gwen Dunavant. Well, I think her married name is York now. I don't mean to disrespect,
Okay.
but you know, one thing they all talked about on the women's committee was women running for office, women getting themselves in a leadership role. So Angela Cassie and Linda Dill called me up. I mean, I think it was even during one of the Working Women's Committee sessions, and then said, we got to do this. And so as soon as they announced that they were going to run for leadership, all of a sudden now they can't cut them out because that would be too obvious. But they've been like cold-shouldered. They've been like, you know, talked about in a negative way. Didn't the Women's Committee say that women should run for leadership, or should they only run for leadership when there's loyalty involved? Like the Women's Committee, like here. You know, it's not a real strong fighting women's committee. It's a ladies auxiliary. You know, it's about, you know, I mean, you're right, like about bake sales and raffles. It's not about women's issues. It's not empowering women, giving women the strength to compete in a man's world. This is just all about, you know, looking for the next person that they can put up there, the next token to say, oh, look, here's a woman. Look, see, we like women. Here's a woman. You know, I mean, that's sad. So we decided, yeah, you know what? We have good qualified women. Angela Cassie's the recording secretary of a union. Linda Dill has been organizing forever. I let her talk about her accomplishments. I can't even remember them there so much. And the same thing with Sandra Burleson, right? So these women are not only standing up and being brave about this, and still in a predominantly male union, but they're also more qualified than the people that are there. And it isn't about knowing how the office runs. Yeah, they probably know how the office runs. But these women are qualified to be union leaders today.
That's a wonderful thing right there. Now let me ask you, who do you think Samuelson is going to appoint? I have every reason to think that it's going to be Utano, because they threw a shot at me. They threw a shot and said, "Oh, we gonna give you a job because you're good at this," and I'm like, "Y'all dudes is like definitely bugging." But do you think it's gonna be Utano?
He's the only one that doesn't draw. Right now, they're divided down there at the hall, and he's the only one that doesn't draw that much objection. Any other one of them, you can name one, and another group will object. So he's probably the only one that doesn't draw objection. And he's probably also the one most likely to be a puppet.
I believe so. I don't think Utano even go stay here long enough to even want to do anything past the next election. And I really want to know, what are they plans for the future? Because if all of them was to disappear, if they plane was to disappear going to the Constitutional Convention, who would run this local? On they side, because the appointment go come from them somewhere.
Nobody runs the local now. It doesn't matter. It's a driverless car. Do you ever see the driverless cars that are coming out now? Local 100 was the first driverless car.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So let me ask you a serious question.
Wander all over the highway with no direction. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that you have a chance to win this thing?
I have a chance to win because I believe that we convinced enough delegates not to submit to unconditional support prior to convention. The group, one of the groups that won outright in their delegate selection was the opposition to the leadership in 556, and those are the flight attendants. About 15,000 flight attendants, maybe 16,000 now. They're growing. Southwest flight attendants. And, you know, they had a recall on their leadership that was stonewalled. They had to go to court, massive legal fees. But the one thing was that crew, you know, really stood up. And when it came time for the delegate selection, they wanted to go to the convention, and they wanted tell the leadership that, you know, they're tired of being ignored. Now, these guys won their delegate election 31-0. They beat the guy, Tom McDaniel, who had the highest delegate vote in 2013, and they all beat him. He went from first place to 32nd place.
Wow.
They're very they're very interested in our campaign because, you know, one of the things I was investigating while we were putting this campaign together was, you know, some of the safety issues. Now, we were talking about you know, the safety department being non-existent. Now, you have people, you know, from they're based all over the country. They fly all over the country. So they have separate issues. Like myself, I'm a mechanic. I know what the safety issues are. They're respiratory. You know, you know what your safety issues are. But does anybody out there know what a flight attendant safety issue is? So I said, you know what? I want to find out what those safety issues are, and I surveyed them. And I told them that the International Safety Department should be interviewing and investigating all the flight attendant issues. Now, they are predominantly women, right? And they have their own separate things that we don't. I'll give you an example. Cosmic radiation. What's that? Well, flight attendants are 2.5 times more likely to develop breast cancer and melanoma.
Wow.
And it isn't because they like to lay out in the sun. It's because when an airplane goes up in the air, there's less atmosphere to filter out the sun. So they have more direct sun radiation on them as much time as they spend in the air. There's no filter for that. The aircraft doesn't block that. So cosmic radiation is a thing for them. They suffer from some of the other things that people that are away from home all the time do. They suffer from alcoholism, depression. They find it very tough to raise a family, high divorce rate. They're on their feet all the time, so they have lower extremities issues, lower back issues. Their uniforms sometimes make them sick. Don't even ask me how that happens. And, you know, probably cheap Chinese uniforms. And it's just, you know, a lot of things. I have a whole list on the platform. But and these are things that, you know, we found out about flight attendants. So we put it out there on our platform to be 556 specific. Now, there are also bus operator issues, train operator issues, and we have a lot of bus operators. We have a lot of transit out there. We have a lot of airline mechanics of our jobs, and two, prevents automation of our jobs. And in doing that, that's how we save our jobs. But it has to be done through legislation. And I'm sure they're fine negotiators. They're the presidents of their respective locals. But without the tools, all you're doing is coming to the table and talking. And I just want to mention that one person who seemed to be ostracized from negotiations is the president of the baggage handlers out of Miami, 568, because they labeled him as a supporter of mine. You know, I know him and we spoke, but you know, he's really not. You know, he's his own man. But since they wanted to ostracize him, he's the only local American president that's not at the negotiations.
So it's a whole bunch of stuff going on over there with this whole incident.
I got a ton of stuff. I don't want to bore everybody to death out there, but this is what we're facing. This is why I took the challenge, because I knew that we by running an election, which hasn't happened, by the way, and just another little piece of history. 2001 was the last time someone challenged the international president, and that was Roger Toussaint. And that was a quickly put together thing just to show that there needs to be an election. And since then, there hasn't been one. It's just been one bought-off person after another. And 2013, we were going to have one, and then Frank McCann did the dive over to Samuelson's side, and that killed the slate, you know, at the last minute. It's just something that, you know, just keeps happening. But I'm happy that with us, 5 people, can't happen. We're not viable.
Well, let me ask you this: as far as You know, we just had Hurricane Irma in Florida, and there's airports, there's flight attendants down there that belong to the international. You think the international sent any resources down there for those workers?
Not as much as they should. It's been a token support. Think about it like this, right? I just talked about saving the international $1,500,000, and they donated $50,000 to Houston. I don't even know what they did to Irma. I'm just talking about Harvey. And I mean, individual members have done better than that, you know, combined.
Correct.
I know that the flight attendants independently collected, at the last I looked, was $13,000. And these are working people. You know, these are people that put their money out there. Not only did they do that, but they also came together in a way, and this is what pure organizing is all about. They came together in a way that went beyond just financial assistance. They lent their homes to displaced flight attendants. I saw them on the Facebook. They're taking up collections of new and lightly used clothing for people that lost everything, people that are still displaced and homeless. You know, Houston is just now, you know, the water's receding out of there, and everybody forgot about them because of Irma, which is just as devastating. And that is something that, you know, they did themselves, and I'm very proud to know them all, that they were able to do that. And it didn't matter. It wasn't about political ideology within the union. It was about helping one member helping another, two members helping a member, networking. You know, okay, so-and-so needs a place. Who needs a place? You know, okay, this one can put you up. It's been very uplifting to see members doing that for themselves.
That's correct. Now, to stray off of that for a little while, we got the Constitutional Convention coming up. Could you tell the members who's listening why is that important, that a must vote no must happen? Okay,
right. Well, we've been doing a little bit of grassroots, the best we can, to get out the vote no. I believe now we're just hearing it from the union, but I believe that if we weren't making noise about it, that the union wouldn't be doing anything. Now they're starting to send out flyers.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to give a shout out, because I did see y'all out there. I think y'all was in the subway somewhere. I seen you, Chisholm. Who else you had with you?
I had Will Pacheco, Carol Robinson, Max Rosario, Gary Bono, and we had a member that reached out, I believe, to both of our pages. He's a journalism student from Columbia University who's also a blogger. His name is Isaac. He came out to document what we were doing, and I also gave him the opportunity to talk to people to let them know, you know, like, for instance, he wanted to talk about assault. Well, all right, you want to talk to station agents? Here's Carol, and here's Jamel. You want to talk to the bus operator? Here's Will. And of course, you know, being down in the subway, other conductors and stuff walking around, so, you know, a dialogue was able to happen, and he was able to get a good idea, and he, you know, could put his article together. But he wants to do an entire MTA piece, beginning with that. And right now, we just threw so much information at him that he's trying to, you know, sift through it, because there was like a billion pieces of information about the culture of transit workers he didn't know. So we were out there doing this, and but we weren't just handing out flyers and telling people vote no. What we were doing was we were giving them registration cards. If they wanted to fill it out and give it back to us, we'd mail it. If they wanted to take it with them, but we also gave them a few. Get your wife registered, get your neighbor registered. We told them, you know, what are the possible, but there were, like, one ramification is, let's say grandfathering of pensions is gone. Now that goes across all pensions, Tier 6 and Tier 4, and now they hold that against us. It becomes negotiable, but not negotiable. In other words, we come out with something that says, you know, we want assaults to stop, we want the police, we want security, we want this, we want that. They turn around, if you don't shut up, we're going to go back into your pension and we're going to pull some money out of the back end.
Now let me ask you.
They could do that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this then.
Well, I was just. Yeah,
let me ask you this, because I did a little research on the Constitutional Convention, and never in the history of it that there was a loss of any benefits. What make you think this time that there may be a loss of benefits?
Well, 1997 there wasn't one, and I can't speak for 1967, but I do know that 1977. I can't speak that far back, and you're probably right. Probably wasn't. They probably didn't touch it. But then again, Labor had more power back then, and politicians were scared to death of us. Now we turned it around where politicians used to come to us with their hat in their hand. Now we're going to politicians with a hat in their hand, our hat in our hand to them. But I want to talk about how this affects Cuomo. This is what I was talking about. This is the underlying thing that's not being put on flyers. Cuomo was running for president. Cuomo 2020. Local 100 is like a caboose right behind this Cuomo 2020 stuff. And in order to run for president, you have to have financial backing from corporations, the way the culture is now. I mean, aside from the way Bernie did it, $27 from everybody, and that was remarkable. That's organizing, by the way. These guys will just go get the big paychecks from big corporations, big institutions, right? So Cuomo's best friends are Wall Street and the real estate businesses, right?
Correct.
Real estate is huge in New York, right? So what do wealthy people want more than anything? They want their taxes cut. So Cuomo says, okay, fine, I'll cut your taxes, but the only way to do that is there's many ways, but the only way to do it that he feels won't hurt him would be to be able to go into our pensions and pull out our pension benefits. Now, Tier 6 alone saves New York State $30 billion over 30 years. Now, Tier 4, if they're able to make Tier 4 Tier 6, that saves another, $45 billion, just based on the amount of people, right? If they even take Tier 6 and make it MTA bus, which you even lose that $15,000 at the end, that cap, MTA bus is capped completely. They don't get overtime added on. They're just years of service. So no matter how much overtime they work, they just get a flat out pension. If they ever did that to all of us, think about all the money they'd save. Now, in doing so, right, now you can go and you can cut taxes on the wealthy. So now Cuomo can get his big contributions to run for president, right? So all this is a dynamic. Now, at the same time, Cuomo also wants to cut taxes, state taxes for the wealthy, so he's saying that the city should pay more for the subway. Now, the thing about it is, and this is the spin that Local 100 has been putting on it, is that they're acting like it's the mayor who pays. The mayor doesn't pay. It's about taxes. It's about services. $568 million or $468 million or whatever they want more from the city. Well, where does that come from? It can only come from two places. One, cut services. Two, raise taxes. De Blasio threw a curveball at Cuomo that he didn't see coming. De Blasio said, how about if I raise taxes on the wealthy? Albany immediately started, whoa, no, we can't do that. Of course not, because that interrupts Cuomo for president 2020, right? And De Blasio wanted that out there. He was slick when he did that. But at the same time, Samuelson's telling him that you have a $2 billion surplus, use that. Samuelson loves doing that, except when the MTA has a surplus, he doesn't say anything, right?
Correct.
But de Blasio was saying Trump is the president who's talking about cutting money, federal money to the cities, and he's talking about cutting taxes to the wealthy. We need that $2 billion as a buffer. So we achieved that $2 billion by responsible spending, and we're not going to give it to you. So you could cut state money to the subway, so you could cut taxes to the wealthy and make yourself the president. So again, it's all about one guy, and probably Samuelson, who feels that, maybe he'll get a position in the Cuomo administration. Meanwhile, we're all being used. And that's really what's behind all this. These are the talks that we're having when we're out there trying to get members registered to vote. And that's probably another reason why they don't want members registered to vote, because they don't want them voting against Cuomo.
Yeah, you may be right about that. And how do you feel about the union spending union resources to go against the mayor? I
think that we're screwing ourselves. A lot of people don't like de Blasio didn't like the way he's the mayor. But just outside of that box for a minute, he's probably the most progressive mayor we've had in my memory. And so you know that he's not going to come after us as the people. But so why would you do that? Why would you jeopardize the mayor who's running against a Republican candidate who sits with the Manhattan Institute? And she's almost over there like it's her summer home. And we all know what the Manhattan Institute's about. The Manhattan Institute is about screwing working people, making us a permanent underclass. And they find ways to do it. And I don't want a mayor like that. As much as people might say they don't like the way de Blasio is the mayor, wait till you get somebody like that. A total fiscal conservative that'll just tear us apart. And especially public service workers. They don't care how much work we do. They'll tear us apart. We have to stay strong on this. So why would the union go against that? To shame the mayor into spending the money so Cuomo can cut it on the other end. So he could siphon it off the back end. We're being used as pawns. I
totally agree. My thing with Samuelson is, where was this type of energy when Vision Zero, when bus drivers was getting arrested? Where was this? Where was this attack on the mayor? Where was this outcry about his workers? This seems like he's, like you said it, he's Cuomo's lapdog.
That's right, and he's dragging us along with it, like we're all behind him. You know, I see right through this. I mean, I was born at night, but not last night. A guy like Samuelson is not going to pull the wool over my eyes. I know exactly where he's coming from. And can you imagine him doing this on a national level? And that's also why I'm down at the international, because we have to educate everybody what this dude is capable of.
Yeah, and then not to mention, he gave Cuomo, I don't know if it's 25. I think he gave Cuomo $25,000 in January for his 2018 campaign. So we already know, how can you make such a cosign when this guy just gave your workers a crazy contract? A contract that didn't keep up with inflation or the cost of living like he claimed.
I've always been a staunch anti-Tier 6 person. I mean, not just because I sympathize how it screws you guys on like 5 different levels, but also that it divides our union, right? And it divides our union between the haves and the have-nots, doesn't it? Yeah. And your numbers are growing and our numbers are shrinking. And when we hit 50-50, and I was there, when Tier 1 and Tier 4 hit 50-50, and it wasn't pretty, because you're looking at the guy across the room. He's sitting there all smiling like I got mine. And maybe he ain't. Maybe he's smiling at something that he's looking on his phone, but you're pissed off, and you're looking, what the fuck he's smiling about? and that kind of thing is poison to unity. They talk about us, me and you, Chamel, that we caused this unity. We don't. What we're doing is we're pointing out the truth, and it's the truth that's causing disunity, because people are finally figuring out what's going on and what happened to us, right? Now, Tier 6, I mean, think about it. Tier 6 is so devastating, and yet we carrying signs of the guy who did it up and down avenues. Are we out of our minds?
Boy, ain't that the truth? And even when I seen it on the side of the float, his name shouldn't have even been on the side of our float for the Labor Day parade or West Indian Day parade or whatever. It shouldn't even been there. Then we marched with him for the Labor Day parade. Like, what is all the support of the governor for? The governor, for those who don't know or forgot already, he gave us a 7-cent night differential raise, which starts next year.
And don't forget the 5 years of top pay, which directly is actually worse than the Tier 6 contributions during that same time. Correct. Now, when you put them both together, does anybody take any money home at the end of the week?
And you're right about that. Now, only thing I'm unsure about is, did Cuomo really give us the 5 years top pay, or did Samuelson finagle us into that? Because remember, that's during the time that he went missing until he got into the international.
Remember that Samuelson, during negotiations, originally the authority wanted it, and Samuelson was very explicit in saying that I can't accept that now. I'll never get reelected, because that's really that's always what's on his mind. So he waited until he got reelected and then gave it to us. And remember that whole bullshit about, oh, I asked the governor to get involved. The governor's the boss. The NCA is not the boss. Well, what if the NCA would say, you know what, Governor, we're planning on giving transit workers a 20% raise? Cuomo would fire them all. Cuomo's the boss.
You're right.
Cuomo told them, you're gonna screw them over, and you're gonna make their president sell it. And that's what they did. And when they sold that shit to us, it was all Cuomo. Cuomo wanted the money. You give people an 8% raise over 5 years, which is garbage in my opinion. But then you turn around to new people and you take even more. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, that's insane. Now, even with this whole
first day, that's all it says. It doesn't say what day the election is, what day nominations are. It doesn't say who's in charge. There are no election rules except they point back to the federal election rules. But the federal election rules don't allow for information to candidates that they have. For instance, delegates. We want to know who the delegates are. We don't even know. I mean, I know probably who most of the local 100 delegates are because I have the election results, but I don't know who the rest of the delegates are in the country. The other 300, I have no idea. I can't contact them. And it's not a secret. I mean, these are elected officers. Why can't we know who they are? You know, why can't we contact them and give them our literature? I know in Local 100, if I had the time, I could walk the system, and probably it'll take a really long time, but I'll probably get to 20, 25, 30,000 people and be able to hand them a flyer. But I can't do that because some people live in San Francisco, some people live in Los Angeles, some people live in Boston, Chicago, and even if I went there, I wouldn't know how to find them. I mean, this is it's probably the absolute opposite of democracy that I could possibly. Even third world dictatorships, when they're forced to have elections, they know what day it's on.
That's correct.
Okay, I mean, we are probably we tried our best to put constitutional changes and resolutions out there. Executive boards are afraid to pass them because once they pass them, they have to send them to the international. They won't even do that. The only board that we could get that were friendly to our resolutions and constitutional changes was Local 555, where Angela is the recording secretary. But other than that, we have no way through the Constitution to even get our agenda into the room. We have to just change the leadership. That's the only way to do it.
And that needs to be done ASAP.
Right, but one of the things on our platform was we want direct election of international officers. We don't want this delegate system anymore. This delegate system was like winner take all. This is like what happened with Bernie and Hillary, right? Or even on the Republican side. It was okay, you win the state, you get the whole state. It's like the same thing. Like executive boards were voting. Let's say there's an executive board that has 13 people on it, and 7 are for Samuelson and 6 are for me. Well, they were voting to say the majority will vote for whoever the majority picks. So the other 6 people don't even get to voice their opinion, or they're afraid to, because they can't go against the other people. So they wind up voting for somebody they don't want. So instead, we wanted the entire membership to vote for international officers. This way, they're really held accountable, because members don't know what delegates are doing down there. They certainly don't know what jobs are being thrown around or what dinners. I mean, guys will give their vote for a fucking free steak dinner. You know, this is stupid, right? So members should be voting for this. Now, of course, we wanted to put that out there. And in 2013, when we were going to run a slate, my condition was that be part of the platform. And we did make it part of the platform. Direct member elections through electronic means, right? On our phones, on our laptops. So we don't have paper ballots. That paper ballot bullshit's got to go too, even in Local 100.
That's correct. That's definitely correct. But you know they do that on purpose. It's more manipulation that way, and they try to make it seem like that we crazy and you guys just lose. No, we just don't lose, because it's mighty funny how you guys go win, and I'm talking about them. How them guys go win in our elections, but anything they support with somebody else, like the Henry Butler and Marvin Holland thing, you lose. So where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect at? Because the people that's voting for these people in those communities are in this job. So where does the where does it lie? Where does the malfeasance lie? Where does it lie at? Does it lie at local 100, or does it lie at the city council the way they do they voting? Because you can't manipulate those votes.
No, and the paper ballot, the way we do it, the mail ballot, is easily corruptible. I mean, to large extents and to small extents, and the voter suppression is absolutely outrageous. And the desire for local union reps to pull people in and say, "Give me a ballot," and you know that rep controls your overtime, so you know you're going to do it. Just to survive. You know, you don't care about Joe Campbell. You're just gonna shit. I need my overtime because my base pay sucks. So I need my overtime. Sorry, Joe, but I got to give him my ballot. And this goes across the board. You know, and this is. I mean, you see how the numbers are. I mean, what Samuelson beat me? 8,000 to 6,000.
It was close.
And where was everyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, but where was everybody else? That's 14,000.
And don't forget though, Latanya got more votes than him.
Yeah,
however which way how that worked out, I don't understand.
She probably keeps herself away from this from the fray. You know, like nobody blames Latanya for a bad contract.
Yeah, but what good could you blame her for? You can't blame her for anything.
No. Yeah.
You know, she's on the women's committee. You know what I'm saying? The women here are. Yeah. You would think that women never worked on his job until this year. You know what I'm saying? When I found the flyer of the black bus driver being arrested, was that supposed to be Latanya? What was her outcry on that? Why would Samuelson even do something like that?
Oh, that was a very insensitive cartoon.
Yeah, it was poor taste, and the union didn't have any issue putting their logo on it and co-signing that. You know, there's other ways to get messages across. Like, I don't see no difference from what the local did with that flyer and management now putting up people incident reports as far as what's going on in the road. Like, what's going on here?
We stopped that. There was a way back in the day, Labor Relations used to put out a newsletter, and it was all over the place. And it was actually called like Labor Lines or something. A newsletter
with people incidences on it?
Disciplines.
Wow.
They used to put out, like, if somebody got bagged for compensation fraud, they put out a newsletter. And it would be like a lot of stuff, you know? Oh, this one did this one did that. And very snarky, very sarcastic, you know, to make it look like, you know.
They criticize everything. They criticize everything.
That. You know, so and it's assaulting. Tonight, someone's going to get assaulted. Someone might even be getting assaulted right now.
Yeah.
You know, so when is it going to end? Samuelson put his big face up there on a screen, right, Times Square, and was telling everybody, telling all the tourists, if you can't protect us, pay us. Well, we didn't get paid. I mean, he thinks we did, but we didn't, and we still ain't protected. So what does that mean? Well, even if we thought we got paid, like it was a great contract, do we still get our asses kicked, and that's how we pay for it? I mean, what did all that mean? What did that slogan mean? You know, somebody's going to get killed. It's only a matter of time because we're not protected. The legislation shouldn't have a maximum penalty. It should have a minimum penalty. The legislation should be 6 months or a year. You know, like guns, illegal gun. Illegal gun, you're going away for a year. I don't care what lawyer you have. You know, you're going away. And it should be the same thing with assaulted transit workers. You assault a transit worker, you're going away, kiss your wife goodbye. That's it.
You're right. And there's no concern with them. Why they don't take these issues to the governor? The governor should be addressing this without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Absolutely. But, you know, when we go see the governor, we have to enter through the servants' entrance. So we ain't, you don't have much of a, it's like the butler coming to the family dinner and start speaking his mind. Now, you know, it ain't nobody listening.
Now, let me ask you.
Don't have the strength.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. The union had in my opinion, it was a secretive ceremony at the union hall regarding honoring transit workers who was involved with 9/11, and they only honored 10 people. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, me personally, I don't need to be honored, but I work down there, and I think that it should have been everybody. There were 2,400 transit workers working down there. You know, they were probably, you know, I mean, on payroll using heavy machinery, and that's not including the volunteers that went down there to work on the you know, recovery and rescue.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, I mean, I think that they should have brought the whole, you know, membership down there if they were going to do an honoring ceremony and not just have, you know, 10 people. I mean, that's not fair. How do you keep the 10? You know, it's people that have died since then.
And my problem, you 100% right in that. I gotta give you applaud for that, Joe. That was good. But my thing is, why didn't they promote it, right? Because what if you had regular members who wanted to honor those members who sacrificed themselves for not only other transit workers, but, you know, for other citizens or people who was in the building? What if we wanted to give them a round of applause or bring them flowers, or us as the members give them something from our hearts? Why wasn't this promoted where all members could get involved?
Yeah, you know what it is. It's they got to watch who's in the picture. That's why they do it. You know, the picture can only have certain people in it. That's why when they did when they brought Bernie to the Union Hall, Bernie Sanders, they didn't tell anybody about that. They didn't want strange faces in that picture. They wanted their faces in that picture, and it's with everything. If you look at the parades, I looked at Dominican Day Parade. Where were the Dominicans? It was Samuelson. I mean, there were no Dominican members in the picture. Same thing with the Caribbean Day Parade. You know, there was maybe Earl Phillips, but then it was everybody else. That's, you know, Samuelson's close staff. I mean, this is just, they don't let anybody else, like we all don't exist. You know, no matter what. I remember at one lobby day, I stood front and center, right there. I made sure I was the first one on the steps, so they could not crop me out of the picture. Sure as shit, I disappeared out of that picture.
You serious?
Yeah, they pulled me right on out.
Get the fuck out of here!
That's crazy.
I know. They yanked me right on out of there. So this is, they're all about that, like sending emails to members, giving members a perception of a fight or militancy, but it's not there. And it's really funny is that the rest of the TW of America, who knows that there's a campaign going on, but don't know Samuelson, they're throwing this word around. They're militants. You want a militant leadership? You got to be you got to be kidding me. Not with that group that's up there. There's nothing militant about them. They're about. I feel sorry for anybody that Samuelson has to negotiate their contract. Any of those locals that think like Samuelson has some kind of skill because he comes from Local 100. Because you're selling out your unborn and you're probably going to lose your pension. And you know, that's pretty much how he rolls. It's all just about, you know, what can I give you to make me look good.
And that's 100% right with that one. It's like we have spent a lot of time, you know, analyzing Samuelson, talking to Samuelson, and you know he still doesn't care what the members think. And the only thing that sticks out in my head is inflation and cost of living is the exact same thing. You don't understand how much that bothers me, Joe. The fact that the members actually fell for that. As soon as he said that, I was like, what is he talking about? No, it's the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? And then when you replay everything he has done, he was very acceptive of Tier 6 when it first came. Remember, Tier 6 is worth his weight in gold. Everything that's hurting us now, he co-signed it at one time with open arms. Because
we came out against it publicly, and that's why they came out with that flyer. That was to counter what we were saying. When we were saying that Tier 6 was bad, he came out with that gold parachute shit or whatever that was. No, this is gold. It's 20. We kept 25-55. Comparing people that got worse to us. I mean, that you know, that's a con. You know, just continually fooling people into believing, you know, that they got something and they didn't. And they didn't really care, because at the time there was hardly anybody from Tier 6 on the property. So they showed that, when they showed that flyer, they showed it to Tier 4.
Wow, yeah,
they were like, look, don't tell the new guy they got screwed, because they really didn't.
Man, he didn't show it. He didn't show it to no Tier 6 people, because it wasn't probably on the officially on the. I mean, Transit probably didn't hire any yet. And if
they didn't. When that flyer came out a couple of months after Tier 6. So how many people were on the property? A couple of hundred. You're
right. And
they probably didn't even know what the hell Tier 6 was.
Exactly. And if Samuelson wanted to consider this a win for us would have been the state got Tier 6. You guys got Tier 4. Y'all remain Tier 4. Everything that Tier 4 got. That would have been a win. But getting us Tier 6 and saying we only allowed to keep 25-55, that's a phantom number to me, because if Tier 6 stays in place the way it is, I won't be able to retire at 25 or 25-55. I'll be too poor.
You won't be able to contribute into a solid 401k retirement fund, a supplemental fund, because you're paying all your money into NICEs. So, I mean, you're paying 4% that you could be putting into a 401k, and you're giving it away for a pension that, you know, everyone has anyway.
Yeah.
Even if they fix the tail end, even if they adjust the cap, everyone's contribution is still high. I mean, you're talking about 20 years before anybody, you know, even hits that mark.
Yeah.
From now. So to fix it today, you still got 20 years of contribution abuse. That you can't supplement. You won't be able to supplement your income. I mean, you can, but you talk about really scraping by.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. How come we never had annuity?
Oh, that's something that I wanted real bad. I mean, we would have been working on that. Also, a variable supplement. Those are two things that I put out there as part of the campaign. Was an annuity fund. And go after the variable supplement like corrections have.
Yeah, it's that annuity fund for corrections in NYPD. For those who don't know, for each year past their retirement, they get $12,000. And if they do not take the money, if they stay working, that money builds up. So you got transit workers down here that's doing 10 years past their retirement. That would have been $120,000. But you do 10 years down here, you just get an extra percentage point on your pension, so a few extra points. But that annuity isn't there. You know how big that annuity would be if we had it? I don't think transit workers would have a problem paying into that if they knew they would get that at the end of their retirement.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something, you know, they're actually paying you for wear and tear on your life. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we put a lot of money into our pension system, and you know, it creates, in good times, it creates a huge profit. It's actually a drop in the bucket, you know, compared to the profits that NICES makes off of, you know, the five entities that pay into it. And, you know, for the OA, the MTA would have to match it. But just talking about, you know, this OA TA, not MTA bus, and they should get it too, by the way, but just using us as an example, $13 billion profit, if we were to get $10,000 per transit worker, you know, that's nothing in the $13 billion profit. It's a drop in the bucket. You're talking about maybe $200 million. So instead, the profit is $12.8 billion. I mean, it's something that we have to strive for. It has to be part of every future discussion on how transit workers want to go forward. I mean, if we have to strive for that, we should do it.
You know, this is them guys don't really want to strike under any circumstance. We both know that they don't really want to strike. They don't really want to fight for us. You think they really, really, really want to strike? It's like
no. This is why we talk about you got to scrub that place clean. Everything that we're talking about is not going to happen, and a lot of stuff that we want is not going to happen without a struggle. You know, nothing happens without a struggle.
I'm hearing.
Otherwise,
I'm hearing Steve Downs supposed to be stepping away any second now, if he hasn't already.
Well, I mean, he's inconsequential. I mean, you know, he's part of the, you know, he's part of their propaganda, you know, department, and he's probably served that pretty well. They'll probably find somebody else to make up lies and tell the members.
Where's Brian Burke? Brian Burke, are you listening? If you're listening, call in. I like what you have to say about Steve Downs sometime. I know you called me. I missed your call, but call back. I want to hear what you got to say about Steve Downs. Brian Burke, he killed me with that. You know, Steve Downs got a summer home in France.
I remember that from the show, yeah.
He said Steve Downs had a summer home in France. But I believe that Steve Downs was like running this union at one time, and being that Samuelson is going to the international, I don't think his services is no longer needed. Because even when I spoke to Utano, I told Utano, because I didn't know that Utano was the longest acting union rep, or he got the longest tenure as a union rep. I never knew that. Just before I seen him, I had found that out. But what bothered me when I heard that, because I didn't see that as no accolade. What bothered me was he was reading from a script at the MTA board meeting. How can you be the longest elected rep and you don't know the issues coming straight from your heart? Why you have to read from a script? And when
somebody had to tell him what to think.
It's funny because when I told him, I said, "Look, why you was reading from a script?" He said, "Oh, but everybody said they loved my speech." I said, but I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I didn't like it. But you was reading from a script. That's not how you expect people to take you serious. These people at MTA know who you are. You reading from a script, that means that you don't really know the issues. And then that's when
because you're speaking from the heart. Yeah,
and that's when I did that thing in front of with the assault march, I wasn't reading from no paper, but I knew what was coming out of me was gonna be authentic because I actually live it, I actually experience it, and I hear my fellow coworkers talk about their experiences. So it's nothing for me to go up there and talk about the issues because I'm inflamed with it, I'm involved with it. This guy, you know. It's just so embarrassing all across the board, and I don't even know if these guys get voted in again, Joe, we in serious trouble. We are in serious trouble. And
I know. I don't think we could survive another 3 years after that.
It's over. If these guys get voted in next election, we are in trouble, big time.
Like you were talking about, the job would be good for like college kids.
That's it, and people think it's a joke, like. It's serious. This job will be seriously for college kids. Gentrification has been rampant these past, I would say, 10 years. The cost of living of everything has went up in New York City. A lot of us is moving out of New York City, and that's including me. So, what another 10 years is going to do? By 2019, next contract, we go be in trouble again. Because why? Samuelson felt for the okie doke. You had Prendergast before he left. He said the MTA is in a good space financially. You have that man say that, and then you come back with 2.14% raises, and he said that the company is good financially. Now, look what's going on now. They fighting over money. So what's going to happen next contract? We ain't got no money to pay y'all. You guys see what's going on here. There's no hidden books. We really don't have no money. We need the mayor. In order for y'all to get a raise, we got to get the money from the mayor. And then what's gonna happen?
And we're the mayor's best friend right now.
Yeah. And then what happens? We go turn on the mayor. Oh, the mayor owe us the money, or whatever. They gonna be playing hot potato with our livelihood, and that's not how it should work.
Yeah.
As soon as Prendergast said that the MTA is in a good space financially, or whatever he said, he didn't say they was bad. He said they was good. Samuelson should have went for the jugular. How is even if it is 2.5%, how is 2.5% raise substantial in 2017. I don't understand that. And it's easy for him to not worry about raises when at that time when he was negotiating our contract, he was making $267,000. That's about, for the people who's listening, $260,000 is about $23,000 a month. It takes some of us probably 3-4 months to make that. Meanwhile, it takes an absent president 1 month to clear over 20 grand a month off our blood, sweat, and tears. Samuelson isn't about unionism or unity. He hasn't done anything since I've been here. And even the research that I have done, just like how John McCarthy say, shout out to John McCarthy. You would think nothing go on in this local by as many rallies as Samuelson hold. He hold rallies out of default. Let's have the mass membership meeting. We got to have that. Let's just go down here and let's have a contract rally. You got to do that. These is default. Where's the rallies at for the assaults? Where's the rallies at for the discipline? Where's the rallies at with how they treating the people for workers' comp now? Where's those rallies at? Where's the rallies at for labor relations? The lady get caught lying on her resume or whichever way it went, Tabitha Williams, get caught with that. Where's the outcry on that to say we got to rescind all these cases that she was a part of because a member posted, oh, you know, her job went up for grabs. And you look at what her the scope of her job, it involves the contract. So you had this unqualified person negotiate or have some type of influence on our contract. Everything should be back on the table. Or he should be in the MTA pocket like you owe us a big one. I think that you guys need to do this. I think that you guys shouldn't be doing anything with us for the next year or whatever the case is. How can we handle this legally? What are the lawyers doing? What is Arthur Schwartz doing? What's carrying whatever Larry Carey or carrying cat whatever that law firm is? What are they doing? It's quiet. But we can't rely on our elected representatives to lead us all the time. We must find leadership within us, within the co-workers, our co-workers. We have to look in the mirror and say, are we going to let these guys get away with it? Because at the end of the day, we all grown. We can't point the fingers at people for too much longer. We must start taking action, and we must start supporting the people who's leading the charge and taking these taking these actions straight to the MTA. Because you were like to claim that I'm a shop steward, to be honest with you. Why? Because shop stewards isn't recognized on this job. It was told to me that Utano, and I forgot to say this to him when I seen him because there was a lot of things going through my head and I'm upset. But Utano wanted to get my shop steward certificate taken away from me. I don't understand what he told Kia Poor to do it. And Kia wasn't the one who told me. Somebody else told me, and I asked Kia, and Kia was like, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that did happen. So you have a guy trying to take my shop steward certificate away from me because I'm challenging the administration to do better? What kind of oppression is that? And take him, I could take my shop steward certificate today and drop it in that union hall. What is that going to stop? Is it going to stop this radio show? Is it going to stop me from being proactive? Is it going to stop me from fighting for the members? I don't know what these guys is thinking, and it's very embarrassing that, you know, they're doing this and they want to oppress instead of saying, you know what, Tramel, you know what, Joe, what's the issue? Let's see how can we come together to resolve the things that we going on. Maybe we not seeing eye to eye about some things. You know what, Joe? Maybe you don't understand what's really going on. Let me show you these books. Let me show you how the money is really being spent. You know, maybe there's a misunderstanding. You know what? Maybe y'all guys are right. I didn't think about that. Let's do that now. That's what real unionism is. This unionism, it's not even unionism that they practicing. They practicing oppression. We need not to get that confused and not to get that twisted. They are not practicing unionism. If I see a little boy on the street and he's so defiant towards me, and maybe he's misunderstanding me, it's my job as big brother to pull him to the side and be like, hey, what's going on? What's your frustration? Nah, that's not true. Let me show you what's really going on. And then you leave that little guy with a different impression, and you will make a ally out of him if you educate him right. You know what I'm saying? And this is the things that we have to do, or they have to do, if they really want to create unity and unionism. And to me, I don't see them practicing that. So they want to keep the oppression ball rolling. And I will continue to fight whether they want to be allies or they want to be enemies, because it really don't matter to me. My rant for the night. That was my rant for the night. But you know, it's real, Joe. Like people is not seeing the writing on the wall, the bigger picture on the wall. We not arguing with these guys or challenging them just to be defiant. They know that we right. But to them, it's all about being released, being away from their tools, and getting those easy paychecks. You don't got to punch no card to come into the union hall. You don't got to check in with no dispatcher. You don't got to see no supervisor. You roll in there whenever you want, if you roll in there. You go to the depots whenever you want, if you go to the depots. You take vacation whenever you want. You ain't got to worry about picking vacation. You don't have to worry about being denied a day off or anything like that. That union hall is a country club. And we must change the culture up there at that country club and turn it back into a union hall that's representative of a strong workforce, and that's definitely going to represent these 42,000 members that we have here in Local 100. Joe, feel free to interrupt me whenever you feel like it.
Well, you know, you were going good for a while. I was just going to let you keep going. I agree 100%. You know what? It's funny. It's like what you said. They should pull people in and say, all right, look, this is what the real deal is. But there isn't a real deal. We already on to their con. And so the only offer you don't get, come on in and let's talk this over. You get, I'll offer you a job if you shut up. And, you know, guys like me and you, we're not going to shut up. Because we definitely aren't going to get let back. I was in that door. I'm not going to get let back in again. I already know, you know what they do and what they're about. You're right about that vacation thing. You might have to, put in for vacation day 3 weeks in advance. These guys probably don't even have to put in for a vacation day to get a day off. They just don't show up. There's nobody looking. There's nobody accountable to anything.
It's not. And I even heard, like, even when Nick Bedell started, that his first year, he got 5 weeks vacation off the top.
I know. That's insane.
At what job do they do that at? You don't get that in corporate America. You don't get that in New York City Transit, but you get that at Local 100.
I mean, the culture that was created back after 2001 was that whatever members get, that's what you get, including medical. That was supposed to be the standard. You got 2 weeks vacation up front. Now you had to wait to get your 4. Then you had to wait to get your 5, and that's still a damn good job. If you're an office worker. You're not a transit worker, but to walk in there with 5 weeks, the hell's that? I mean, that's ridiculous. Nobody's worth that.
That's 100% right, and it's just so sad. Like, and I wish that I could speak to every member, or like I could tap into their brain at one time when the show was being broadcasted, and they could just hear the conversations that we have to awaken them. Because there's a lot of members that's just happy to have a job here. That's just that feel like they made it. And once they put that uniform on, all their troubles, they don't care about anything else. Until they on that grill at 2 Broadway about to get fried and flip a burger over, or whatever the case is over there. But they don't care. And that,
yeah, you know what it is? that's the constant work that we have to do, because I tell you what, I've never run into a member yet that told me to get out of his face. When we go there and we start telling them what's up, whether it be this vote no for the convention or, you know, anything else for that matter, people will listen. The only thing is you gotta bring the information to them, because very few people like us are actually going to go out there and try to grapple into the fight. The reason they don't want people in that fight is the same reason they don't want people in that picture. It's they don't want people to see what's really happening. They want to, the only way you can con people is to keep them at a distance. Just feed them the information you want to feed them. It was the old saying. I mean, the union is going back to the way it was back in the 90s that I remember, in a very unpleasant union. It was the saying that these reps used to, and they used to laugh about saying this. How do you treat, the only way to treat the members is to treat them like mushrooms. Keep them in the dark and feed them shit. And that was union reps used to say that. And that was one of the reasons, you know, that I got involved in change. Because I didn't believe in that.
That's crazy.
I believe that the union members should know the truth. And representatives should be servants. They shouldn't be royalty. You know, and that's kind of like what we have right now. Vice president is like, you know, he's royalty. He's a prince. You know, the president's the king. This is bullshit. I mean, why are we paying for this? And we're paying for this.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's definitely. I mean, like, there's so much work that lies ahead of us, and we must, you know, we must start getting these things together. We must continue to be proactive, and you know, moving forward. You know, I really hope that things work out the best in the international election. I don't want to beef with y'all. I want to move this union forward. It's time for us to create change, and we must come together one way or the other. Now, I may not want y'all in that office, but we must come together one way or the other.
Yeah, well, yeah, good luck with that. I think that you and me, they made us permanent enemies. I mean, even people that, you know, crossed over on me, all of a sudden now, you know, looking at me funny and you know, starting to talk shit about me. It's almost like that opposition thing. It's like a fucking fungus, you know. It grows on them. You know, now I got people, you know, running the Samuelson routine, you know, talking about me. Wow. I mean, weren't we just together not too long ago? And I'll call them out soon enough when I'm ready. But you know, when we're gonna give a report on everybody that stands up for Samuelson. Now, I'm telling you, I don't see how people could have been selling that last contract, but we're going to let everybody know who voted for Samuelson in that international thing.
Oh, please do.
Because I think everybody now sees that the contract is bullshit. Everybody that was fooled, everybody who thought that OTO thing wouldn't matter, and now they understand. People whose rent is going up but their pay isn't. I think that, you know, now we show them that, look, these are your elected delegates and they voted for Samuelson. What are you going to do about it?
That's 100%, 100% right. Let me ask you about the female who took Nelson Rivera's place. Any word on her?
I love Shirley Martin, and I believe her heart is in it. And I'm just, you know, I don't want to think the worst. I'm pretty much going to leave that there.
So you go just remain optimistic.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, and like I said, I love the girl because, you know, I've been with her for a long time, and I've seen her, you know, work with her heart. She's actually, you know, somebody like us. But I don't, you know, things. I'll tell you what, you know, and Roger Toussaint used to say this: when everything comes down to it, you're going to see who's who. And, you know, we're going to see who's who when the vote comes for Samuelson or me. I made a lot of people uncomfortable by running for international president. And they're going to have to either vote for him, vote for me, or make an excuse to leave the room. Those are the only three options.
Could you imagine could you imagine if you win, though? Like, how you go cause so much hysteria in Local 100. It's going to be crazy.
Well, I'm gonna call an audit of the books. I mean, Local 100 is gonna be a lot of trouble if I win. They better do what they can do not to let that happen. They know that. I mean, they really, really know that.
Now the voting there is paper ballot. You said, right?
No, the vote is a show of hands. That's an intimidation thing. People will be like scared. You know, you're gonna sit with your delegates and the executive board of your local, and for you to step out of line. That's why it has to be an election of the members, because people are intimidated about voting a certain way. The guy that they're voting against is standing on that stage looking at them. I'll be lucky if I'm in the back of the room. I'm going to try to crash the room. I don't know if they'll let me in. I'm going to make a scene. But I think that, you know, the intimidation alone lends them a tremendous advantage.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll figure out what's going to go on starting next week, next Wednesday when you go out there, correct?
Yeah, man. We'll be reporting back. You guys will have, you know, there'll be, like I said, a whole lot of Facebook Live. We're setting up for the days, and then we'll probably put together a documentary after the fact, regardless of the outcome. And you know, edit it, chop it up a bit, try to get about maybe 12, 14 hours of footage, break it down to about an hour and a half, and you know, just like a real documentary, like a Michael Moore kind of thing, just to show, you know, people, how they act, how they think, you know, get people to talk to us, what's going on in their life, what's going on in their local. And people in Local 100 might be able to see that, hey, you know what, we're not all that different. You know, they worry about the same things we do.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, that was my boy Joe. I'm happy to have him back. I'm happy to have the show back. Joe, lead them, like we go do like how we used to do. Leave them with a final word before you get off the phone.
Okay, all right. Final words. Okay, just want to, you know, shout out to the new show. It's a great format. A lot more people, you know, be able to get involved. I'm gonna promote it the best I can. So I'm happy, you know, that this is back going. I want everybody to realize that, you know, change has to happen. If it doesn't, we're in a lot of trouble. What Jamel says, and I say it too, it's not a lie. We're not saying the sky's falling. You know, it is falling. I mean, it's already fallen. We don't want, you know, to bring disunity. We would bring you families and, you know, our finances, because we really believe in this. We believe in this organization. This organization is wonderful. You have to really believe that your brothers and your sisters are truly your family. You know, when you think that way, you know, then you have a really good union. You don't have this union that we're looking at now. We don't have, you know, royalty, you know, in the castle. We have, you know, a true family spirit. So going forward, you know, we all do this together, and we bring it all together. 2018.
That was Joe Campbell. All right, Joe, we go speak to you later. I'm gonna wrap up the show, and
all right,
we'll speak. Thanks for being on the phone with me for almost 2 hours. It was great. It's normal.
Thank you for having me. Always my pleasure.
All right, no problem. Yeah, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? That was Joe Campbell on the line. He stood on the phone for almost 2 hours, gave a lot of good information. And that's what we want all our guests to do, give out good information. Like I said, we're going to reach out to the VPs. We're going to reach out to the division chairs. We're going to reach out to, you know, all the union reps, other shop stewards, and we're going to get the real pulse of what's going on around here. Now, like we touched on the show, we had, you know, the Constitutional Convention is coming up. November 7th, must vote no. You got the international convention coming up with Joe Campbell is running for international president. That's coming up this month, so we're gonna keep a close eye to see what happens with that. And like I said before, this is our first Progressive Action show. So I'm gonna tell y'all this: if the phone was buffering, it was because the signal strength was bad. It was either probably my signal strength or it was your signal strength. We're going to improve that within the next coming weeks. We will improve that. But on the playback, the video should be straight. It should be fine. once again, to people who have independent businesses, they own businesses. You make music, you sew weaves, you make wigs, you do nails, you sew clothes, you sell sneakers, whatever the case may be. Feel free to send me whatever it is at progressiveaction100@gmail.com. Right now it's gonna be for free. I don't know for how long it's gonna be for free, but for right now it's gonna be for free. So get your merchandise out there, get whatever you're doing out there. We will help you promote it. Like I said, artists, send in your original music. No copyrighted beats. It must be original content. If I don't play original content, I will get deleted off of YouTube Live, and I'm not trying to do that. And I check the music before I play it anyway, but don't waste my time. Please send original music. Shout out to my boy C Notes. He submitted some songs. They all fire. I have become a fan of C Notes. I have watched him for years. He definitely got better. His new song, Busy But My Bills Paid, I had to buy that off of iTunes. I love the song. And other artists out there, please send in your music. To everybody who, a few people call live. What we're going to do next week is we're going to have a sound off section of the show. Or if I open up the phone lines to whoever I'm interviewing, then I will allow you to speak. Or we're going to do like a 30-minute end of the show sound off session to say whatever you want to say. You could talk about the union. You could talk about how you feel about progressive action. You could talk about how you feel about me, good or bad. You could talk about how you feel about, the direction that the union is moving in. You could talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's going to be a section for you guys to sound off and get your frustrations out, and just let you know that people are listening to what you have to say. I'm definitely listening to what you have to say. We're going to be working on future guests, new guests, but we got our staple of people who like to share information and who always has information. So we're going to be looking forward to getting Anthony Staley back on the show, John Mooney, Roger Toussaint, definitely. We probably go do a special show with him, probably like 3 hours. We're gonna reach out to some of the people I've been speaking to lately. I'm gonna call Derek to see what's going on with him. I'm gonna call Kia, see what's going on with him. RTO in general. I'm gonna see what's going on with them. But we're gonna expand this, and the only way that this is going to be able to expand is if when I get off of the show, you share the show in other groups. You share it with your friends. You put it on your main page. And this show, I'm going to explain something. This show isn't going to be about transit issues all the time. Once again, progressive action is a community movement. It's transit because I'm here and the people who I started it with is here. But we come from a community, so we're going to be talking about a lot of community issues. We're going to get Charles Barron back on the show. We're going to speak to his wife. We're going to reach out to Letitia James. We're going to get all those people in on the show and interview them and share knowledge, share information, because that's what this show is about. We're not about the bashing and all that other stuff. We didn't start progressive action to bash people. Bashing came after I was getting bashed. And I have no problems bashing people to defend myself. I could get petty too. There's nothing wrong with that. But we just want to keep the show about information and share information and enlightening one another with education. And if you have any show suggestions, if you have any topics, like we go do topics as far as child support, see how people feel about. Maybe we'll do a child support show next week. But we'll do a topic like child support. We have people calling and letting us know how they feel about child support. And we'll get the different views and things like that about child support, and whatever topics. If you have, like I said, you have any topics that you think that we should do, email them to me, progressiveaction100. I want everybody to be involved. I want this to be a real community show. I want this to be the best show. I want this to be the #1 show as far as unionism and community and things like that, and grassroots movement. It's about time that we start sticking together and come together. And we can't do that with everybody, and I'm cool with that. But for the most part, the people who want to ride with the movement, let's get it. For the people who don't want to ride with the movement, I got this for you. To the no. Look, that was the show for this week. Like I said, share the show. And you have a good night. I'll catch y'all later. Peace. Matter of fact, we gonna go out with my boy C Notes one more time. We gonna play a song just in case you didn't hear it. We gonna play it one more time. It's called Busy, But My Bills Are Paid. And we're gonna get it with that. C Notes, shout out to you, boy. I'm feeling that song. We're gonna get it on one more time. I'm busy, but my bills paid. Listen closely.
No, we got one, baby. Getting money is my BFF. I done sold more drugs than CVS. Now we on the bigger, better things. Busy, but my bills paid. 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 I'm like MJ, but I don't fade. Busy, but my bills paid. Busy, but my bills paid. Busy, but my bills paid. Closed mouths don't get fed, that's what mom said. Busy, but my bills paid. Get rich, we the cream team. More shooters than the dream team. Maury Flow, they don't care who to pop. I've been winning so long, I need a Wheaties box. We could take it there, Uber driver. My shorty's so wet, I'm a scuba diver. Iced out chain, but the flow lava. When it come to super pay, I'm a supervisor. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. I win like MJ, but I don't fade. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. Closed mouths don't get fed, that's what mom said. Busy, but my bills pay. I stay on top, missionary. I just tell her how it is, dictionary. 550 bins with the fresh beard, and the doors pop open like Obama is. Pockets so fat, clumps. The watch presidential, Trump. Plus I got the pump, dump. So you better run, Forrest Gump. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. I win like MJ, but I don't fade. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. Busy, but my bills pay. Closed mouths don't get fed, that's what mom said. Busy, but my bills pay. Catch me in the cut puffin' shisha, and I still get 5 for the feature. Can't score like this from the bleachers. And my kick game on FIFA. Brooklyn boy and it won't stop. I let my milli rock on any block. And my shit's 30. Do say by the cases, no attorney.
That's my boy C Notes. Get his new song Busy But My Bills Paid on iTunes. That's the show for this week. I'm happy for y'all tuning in. It's only going to get better. Let's share these shows. If you want to reach out to me, progressiveaction100 at gmail.com. Peace.